All glory Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, for some reason your camera is frozen still. Not sure.
It's not frozen for us,
Yes.
and
Yeah, it's fine now. Yeah, it's fine. It was for some second, I think. Maharaj, as far as I'm aware, today's verse is 1st Canto, 13th chapter, Dhritarashtra quits home, and 28th verse. Is it okay if I share the screen now?
You're in charge.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, it's just taking some time to arrange my tabs. Give me a second. While yeah, I'm there now. Yep, over to you, Maharaj.
Okay. It's a little small. Make it bigger. Bigger, not impossible to see. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dhritarashtra quits home. Ato dicham disam yatu swaragyatam gatir bhavan ityor bhakya sankalam samguna vikarsanaha. Please leave, therefore leave for the north immediately, without letting your relatives know. For soon that time will approach which will diminish the good qualities of men. Therefore, one can compensate for a life of frustration by becoming dearer or leaving home for good without communicating with relatives. And Vidura advises Elder's brothers to adopt this way without delay, because very quickly the age of Kali is approaching. The conditioned soul is already degraded by material association, and still in the age of Kali, the good qualities in man will deteriorate to the lowest standards. He will advise to leave home before Kali Yuga approach, because the atmosphere which was created by Vidura, his valuable instructions on the facts of life, would fade away due to the influence of the age which was fast approaching. To become Narottam, or the first-class human being, depending completely on the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, is not possible for any ordinary man. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 7:28 that a person who is completely relieved of all taints of sinful acts can alone depend on the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Dhritarashtra was advised by Vidura to at least become a Dhira in the beginning, if it were impossible for him to become a sannyasi or an Narottama. Persistently endeavoring in the line of self-realization helps a person to rise to the condition of Narottam from the stage of Dhira. The Dhira stage is attained after prolonged practice of the yoga system, but by the grace of Vidura, one can attain the stage immediately simply by willing to adopt the means of the Dhira stage, which is the preparatory stage for sannyas. The sannyas stage is the preparatory stage of Paramahans, or the first grade devotee of the Lord. Om Gyan Timiram Dasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chapsu Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve. Gauravani Pacharine Nirvase Sasunyavadi Pastyatya Doyasatayane. Vanchakalpatarudrascha Kripa Sindhupe Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Lord Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam describes the qualities of people in this age of Kali. Manda samanda mateo manya bhagri parvidahan. Prayeno aprayesa sabda kalon gay vishmin janaha. Manda sumanda mateo manya bhaga upaditahan. That this age of Kali deteriorates all the finer sentiments of the living beings. And therefore, people are no better than animals in this age. And we see that now that people, they don't take up any spiritual life, and they're always finding themselves breaking religious and moral principles. They live simply for the satisfaction of the senses, and if they're a little bit intelligent, they find a place in society to somehow or other try to help people who are in similar situations. But they can't do anything because they need treatment themselves. If the doctor is sick, how can he treat his patient? And so this age is characterized, we might even say honeycombed, with all bad qualities. And therefore, religious instructions have to be adjusted in such a way that people in this age can adapt and accept them. The Vedas, and people, of course, followed the Vedic schemes in the previous ages very carefully, particularly in the previous age, such as Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Treta Yuga. People were qualified and had many outstanding qualities. But as the ages go on, Kali Yuga comes in, and even a person's good quality in this age is seen as an ordinary quality in a previous age. But this is the age of Kali. It's just, and people are born without following any rules, regulations. Therefore, we have Varna Sankara, unwanted population. The population is pretty much geared to sense gratification and material acquisitions as the focus in life. The focus of life is to get a good position in society, make money, and to use that money to enjoy various types of material benefits that are available by the society, which are recreated and created over and over again in order to entice people to that style of life. So this is the age of Kali. It's not a very good age. And even if a person that comes from a good family, they don't follow the samskaras, the purificatory process that are meant to push the living entity in a purified way from one stage of life to the other. We mentioned the Garbhadan samskara as preliminary. Even preliminary before that, there is another samskara to prepare for Garbhadan samskara. And then verse samskara, first grains, and the anapras, and then the hair coating ceremony. All of these things are there. And Krishna, when you read about Krishna and his pastimes in Vrindavan, he grew up and he went through all of these samskaras. And although he is the supreme personality of Godhead and is the creator of all morality and samskaras in the world, still he followed them just to give an example for how people should live and make progress in this age. But this age is characterized by two very bad qualities, that is lust and greed. People are lusty and greedy for material things and cause harm to others in order to fulfill their unlawful desires. So here we're seeing that a person who is practicing at least some spiritual discipline should come to the level of dhira. Dhira means sober in the translation of the word. Sober means not disturbed by causes that are meant for disturbance. Not disturbed. In other words, a person who is on the dhira platform, happiness and distress do not cause one to be over elated by happiness or miserable because of distressful situations. They accept these things as features of living in the material world and having a material body. And they're not overly disturbed by these things. In other words, it doesn't ruin or doesn't interfere with their progress in spiritual life. So a dhira is advised here. And then, of course, Dhritarashtra would have a hard time even becoming a dhira. But to speak about the higher platform, which is Narottam, and Narottam means that is one who is fixed completely in the devotional service of the Lord and has developed all good qualities. Nara means man and Tamam means the best of the men, which prepares one for the highest stage, as mentioned, the Paramahansa stage, which is the first class devotee of the Lord. All of these different characteristics are mentioned as means to fortify one's spiritual practice. So one should cultivate these qualities, just like the mode of goodness has been given by Krishna. He even told Arjuna, go to the mode of goodness. The mode of passion is selfish. The mode of ignorance is destructive. And the mode of goodness is selfless. And it develops good qualities, which are conducive to the practice of devotional service. And Krishna mentions these qualities as Brahminical qualities in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Samo Dhamma Pratiksha Arjavam Jnana Vijnanam Astikam Brahma Karma Siddhartham. Peacefulness, austerity, truthfulness, friendliness, simplicity, knowing the scriptures, realizing the knowledge of the scriptures. Jnana and Vijnana. Jnana means theoretical knowledge. Vijnana means realized knowledge. And what is another one? Peacefulness also. And Samodama and Dhira. Dhira means Samodama, not moved by happiness and distress. These are the qualities of Brahminical. And they are foundational for the progress of devotional service. In the mode of passion, there are no good qualities that would allow one to make advancement in spiritual life, except one good quality, which is considered to be usable in the service of the Lord, and that's creativity is in the mode of passion. We see Brahma is, when he created the material world, he is designated as the leader of the mode of passion, or the creator of the mode of passion. But some of the qualities in the mode of passion can be dovetailed or directed towards one's spiritual progress, such as anger can be used to get angry at the demons or for those who offend the devotees. This is called Kroda Bhakta. Kroda means anger, and Bhakta means devotee. Devotee uses anger in a way that is beneficial to help overcome and protect the innocent and to punish the miscreants. Of course, devotees don't get involved in punishment, but we see there is a class of people who are kshatriyas, who are meant to rule and protect society, and they are using that quality of anger to protect the innocent people, to protecting cows, protecting women, protecting old people, protecting children, protecting people who require protection. So this can be used. But ultimately, a devotee aspires for the mode of goodness. And then he can execute Krishna consciousness within that category of activities. Then one will make progress in that. So the mode of goodness is considered to be the good qualities of the Vaishnava, but it's not just sattva, goodness, it's sudasattva, spiritual. Without devotional service, good qualities will gravitate down to the lower levels. But one has to engage one's good qualities in the service of the Lord accordingly, and then make progress in that way. Because Krishna does not accept devotional service that is tinged with the qualities of passion and ignorance. And this is how one approaches the Supreme Lord. So here we're hearing about Vidura. He's got all good qualities. He became fully self-realized. Later on, you'll see as we go on in this first canto, towards the end of the 15th chapter, it mentions Vidura's going back to Godhead. No, he didn't go back to Godhead. He attained this position in Pitraloka, which is the planet by which he lives, and he is Yamaraj. He regains his position as Yamaraj after doing this service during the time of Krishna's appearance. And so he is Narottam, that he's trying to teach to his elder brother Dhira, and that is to become sober. Happiness will come, distress will come. One should remain undisturbed in each of these situations. But when we are too much attached to material life, it's not possible to remain undisturbed. So therefore, the process of bhakti is to dovetail that attachment in the service of the Lord and use that attachment to please Krishna and to serve the devotees. Whatever attachments we may have should be used in the service of the Lord, and that purifies the attachment, brings them to the platform of goodness, and allows that activity to be offered in service to the Supreme Lord as devotion. So we see here, Dhritarashtra has been getting a lot of good instructions from his younger brother, because Vidura knows that he's attached. And when you try to explain detachment to an attached person, he can only think of changing his attachment to something else, but nothing spiritual. So he has to use strong words. The strong words are compassion. They are not simply means by which one criticizes others. There's no question of criticism. It's simply pointing out where he is needing help. As a doctor will go through an evaluation to a doctor, and if he takes a diagnosis and he sees that you have cancer, but he says, I shouldn't tell him he has cancer because he'll become very unhappy. So I'll tell him something else. That's not a real doctor. The doctor will have to give the honest report along with the medicine that is needed. So the medicine in this age is Harinam Sankirtan. Kalaya Doshani De Rajan Astiyaku Mahaguna Kirtana the Krishna Sya Mukti Sangam. So if we want to be free from the effects of Kali Yuga, we have to do Harinam Sankirtan regularly. This is the only way one can be free from the effects of Kali Yuga. And by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Yuga avatar who teaches and practices, not only does he teach, but he practices perfectly the Yuga Dharma, just to show, and he's also enjoying that, just to teach and just to show, here's how you can avoid the effects of Kali Yuga. I have been reading a little bit lately about the non-devotees and how they are preparing for upcoming crises in the world. And there are so many programs now going on. And people are stockpiling food, stockpiling ammunition, stockpiling basic necessities of life. And they're expecting, and it's already happening to some more degree, a collapse in the social order or some kind of catastrophe that can come by way of war or calamities. And the books are being published, periodicals are going out, teaching people or instructing people what to do to prepare for these crises. So we may find a little something there that is valuable in whatever they're saying, but ultimately we don't have to prepare. We simply have to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. When Prabhupada was giving his class, it was a morning walk conversation in Mayapur in 1975. He was on a morning walk with many of the leaders of the society at the time. And he was talking about the up and coming war, World War III. And then the devotee says, what should we do to, when things, become like that? Prabhupada said, just chant Hare Krishna. Spread the kirtan everywhere. And then he said, we have our farms, we have our Vrindavan, we have our Mayapur, we have our Vrindavan. He said, build these farm communities, and these will be places where we will be less affected by the up and coming crises. And so Prabhupada pushed that very hard. And he said, but the most important thing is Harinam Sankirtan. You chant Hare Krishna. Because Prabhupada, he's a self-realized soul, and he knows that simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one will be insulated and isolated from all the difficulties that come by way of natural disasters, civil upheavals, and economic collapses. And so the devotees who are worried, you can hear the lecture, I think it's April 4th, 1975, a morning walk conversation. And they titled it World War III. It's an interesting conversation. So sometimes devotees say, why should we get involved in such topics? Let's just hear about Krishna's pastimes. The Bhagavatam gives a little insight. He said, Bhagavatam says it deals with politics, sociology, family affairs, cultural interests, and various other topics, but they're all in relationship to Krishna, therefore they're transcendental. He says we have no interest in things that are not connected to Krishna. The Bhagavatam connects even the ordinary activities of the conditioned soul in the material world, especially in the life of the Pandavas, as we see here with Dhritarashtra, to Krishna. And when everything is connected to devotional service, Krishna and his devotees, that's also transcendental topics and may also be very relevant to the devotees in finding ways by which we can practice devotional service in each and every situation that we find ourselves in. A devotee is like that. A devotee is very, what's the word? Starts with an resourceful. Yeah, that's the word, resourceful. Devotee is resourceful. They are never overwhelmed by any material situation. They can always think of Krishna and learn how to continue in their devotional service. Just like we had this war in Yugoslavia, which is where I am now, Ljubljana, Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Macedonia. Big war, 1991, 92, another war, 99. What were the devotees doing? They were going out and giving medical aid and food to the people during the war. They weren't, simply, sitting by, waiting for the war to get over. They were actually doing something. So devotees are always, they always keep their devotional service going through each and every situation. Because as it says, no material situation can impede one's devotional service. But that takes some intelligence to understand that. And therefore, as we chant the holy names of the Lord guides one in a way that everything becomes easy and clear. So the holy name is the foundation by which, and when I speak of the holy name, we all think, yes, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, but that's not enough. We have to be chanting Hare Krishna all the time, constantly, always connected with Krishna through the holy name. It's not that we do 16 rounds, we put our beads on the shelf, we say, I'll see you tomorrow, got other things to do, and we say goodbye, we're happy that that affair is over. No. Chanting means kirtan, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Satatam Kirtayan Tomon. Always glorify me by chanting my glories, which are done by the great souls who understand clearly the success, how to succeed in bhakti. So the essence of how to succeed in bhakti is to do everything in relationship to Krishna and always remember Krishna, particularly through the process of Harinam Sankirtan. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Devotees, if you have any question, comments, realization, please unmute yourself and ask. You can also type in the chat and I can read that for you. And it'll be nice to have your cameras on if you can to take your darshan. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So while we're waiting, Guru Maharaj, I have a question. When you mentioned that, devotees are usually, they would like to, and I'm that type of person that I like to hear only, Krishna Katha, and anything goes around that in the world. If it's, news comes up or, I don't watch the news, but if I hear something, I just, I don't bother, like, I don't show any interest. And many things, actually, apart from Krishna Katha and even sometimes philosophy as well. It doesn't interest me at all. Like I just
really the scriptures align themselves with what you're saying, but in Bhagavatam there are politics, there are sociology, there's economics, cultural affairs, family, responsibility. All of these things are mentioned in the Bhagavatam, but in relationship to Krishna. That's the point. The stuff that you hear on the news outside is not connected to Krishna. It's just a bunch of mental speculation and wrangling. It's a waste of time.
Yes.
It doesn't do anything because the material world works on the fear propensity. They give you all bad news all the time so they can make you fearful. That way you'll buy more products to waylay your fears, supposedly. So no, we're not interested in what goes on in the secular world, but these same topics that go on as social and political events are mentioned in the Bhagavatam. I was just reading this morning the verse that Prabhupada saying the same thing. He said, we're not interested in any of this, but because it's in relationship to Krishna, then it has some value. Anything in relationship to Krishna is transcendental, or his pure devotee. So when we're hearing about the Pandavas, we're hearing, what is it? A big war just went on. Devotees are not interested in hearing about war, but when Krishna is involved with the war, hey, that's transcendental. So here's the intrigue in the palace with Dhritarashtra and all of his sons. And it's very political, all of this stuff that's going on here in the Bhagavatam, but Krishna is the center principle of devotional service, and his pure devotees are the center. So it's, for a devotee, it becomes a transcendental affair.
Makes sense now. Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Shridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Satyabhama. Dear Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you, all glories to Prabhupada. Maharaj, you said in the lecture, when you try to explain detachment to an attached person, then only strong words can help, because it's like a strong medicine for a severe disease. So should we wait for a change in circumstance, like what happened to Dhritarashtra before Vidur could get through to him, when dealing with our family, friends, relatives, etc., who are very attached? Should we wait for the right time to speak those words and never give up on them? Or should we just say, well, this person is, hopeless case, and just go on with our activities?
You have to determine by the situation. You can't say it's one way or the other. Each situation warrants a particular understanding, and that understanding may be to do something or not to do something, or to do something in a certain way. So you have to determine the situation, whether the person is a little receptive, or if something you can say will somehow or other make a difference. But generally, we don't try to change people unless that person is just harmful to everyone and themselves. Generally, we speak to people who come to us, or we give classes and we just speak in general like that. Or if we meet people on the streets, we may also say something, but we're not trying to force Krishna consciousness on others. But in certain cases, which requires some connection with the person, then you may have to speak. Just like Vidura, that's his younger brother, the family member. Wasn't just a stranger. You have to use your discretion. Preaching is not simply one way. You have to use your intelligence to see the situation and apply the understanding accordingly. Just to memorize the scriptures is not good enough for actually explaining the scriptures. You have to understand scriptures in a working way, in a practical way.
Thank you, Maharaj. I hope that answers your question, Shridevi Mataji.
Yes, thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you. Scarlett Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, and thank you for the class today. I have tried, and I do talk to everyone that I know about Krishna consciousness, and which you call it maybe like it's like speaking. I don't know why my voice repeated again and again. There's something wrong.
Not
But-
all the time, Mataji. There is a little echo, but you can maybe either try typing it.
I can hear her clearly.
Okay, thank you. And I come across a person who is from India. It came just to talk. I start to talk about. I have learned a lot from Srimad Bhagavatam, and I read, and I love it, and this on that. And I asked this person, "Did you also read Prabhupada's books?" No, he says. Okay. No, I don't need, because I'm Hindu. I'm from India. And I said, okay, may I ask, do you eat meat? Yes. And that made me wonder, does this mean that everything we read, it doesn't apply Hindu that live in India, it's apply only Westerners?
Obviously, he doesn't know anything. Just because you're born in India doesn't mean you know any. You have any correct knowledge. You have to grow up in the right environment and learn also. Many demons are born in India too.
Do I try to continue to talk to him?
If you want to focus on one particular topic like meat eating, then you can say that Hindu culture is vegetarian. You can say that. But we're not so much interested in changing people now. It's just that if he's actually, first, the word Hindu is another misnomer. It doesn't really have meaning in the Shastra. It's a geographical title. It's not a spiritual designation. Spiritual designations are Vaishnava or Sanatan Dharmis, not Hindu. Hindu is not religious. It's just a cultural statement. Obviously, he doesn't know much, so I don't know. Do what you can. We'll see if you can encourage him to chant Hare Krishna. Tell him that here you can be free from stress by just chanting this mantra.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mataji. Any other question?
I'm still here, so continue.
Sure, Maharaj. So just to continue on, while you're waiting for other questions, I wanted to ask an extended question from Sridevi Mataji's point about preaching to others. And my question is preaching to mainly to the family members. And I wanted to get your guidance, Maharaj, that how do we preach to our family members who are very attached to each other and to their business and to the environment around them and the family members. And it really hurts, especially for us, now connecting to Krishna consciousness, seeing the benefit of connection with the Lord and reading Srila Prabhupada's books. I think I can continue. So it really feels bad that we are going and trying distributing the books to our outsiders, to everyone else basically. But we are not able to convince to our own family members to detach, and especially at the age when they should really be detached and
Why are family members so special? Your real family is a spiritual family. If they're submissive and are a little open, you can say something, but don't waste your time. Go to where people are more receptive.
Mm.
These family members are the hardest because they see you in a certain way and they don't want to take instructions from you, even if they know you're right. Don't waste. You're just wasting your time.
Okay.
Yeah. They ask you, you can ask, give them an answer, but don't try to push anything on them. You just listen.
Mm. Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Scarlett Mataji. Scarlett is waiting. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
Silpesh had a question, didn't he?
Oh,
Silpesh, I think he had a question. Yeah.
Shilpesh. Yeah, Shilpesh Babu. Sorry, I didn't see your hand. Yes, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Can I just comment further on what Satyabhama Mataji was just asking? That my family members, they're quite actually positive about us being involved in the temple. They always say it's really, really good you guys are involved, and they've seen a change in me. And, we've taken some of my aunts and uncles to the temple. So I'm very happy about that. So it can be quite positive at times. And on the 50th anniversary of Sri Shivada Gokulanda, we posted the flower gala, the flower outfit darshan photo on our family groups. And I was really surprised. Everybody commented how beautiful it was. So that's our little sort of preaching effort. Just be who you are and let them see the change in you.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah, they have, because they're Indian, they have that sukriti there. Is there? It'll come out in a way that more naturally. Yeah, expose them to Krishna consciousness. That's good.
And Maharaj, this is off topic. I just wanted to ask, what's your thoughts about this Indian space program? Because obviously, Srila Prabhupada said they never went to the moon. And, here we are again. Now it's the Indians doing the same things like the Americans tried to do now 50 years ago. It's like we never seem to learn.
Well, that's the Western influence in India, which is becoming more and more profuse as time goes on. But the moon is a higher planet, and you can't just go there by your mechanics. You have to have the karma to transfer yourself to that planet. It's not done by mechanical devices. And mostly all of these mechanical devices, when they went to a certain level of height within the atmosphere, many of them blew up, people died, or they had to turn around and come back because they realized it was too difficult. The moon is a cold planet. It's surrounded by cold. It's a place where there are people who live there, just like they live every particular planet within the universe. There is inhabitants of living entities, even on the sun. There are living beings who live on the sun, but they have fiery bodies. And so just to go into that atmosphere with an earthly body, you might find it's not possible to actually amalgamate into that atmosphere. So it's all a waste of time and money. Prabhupada made the statement back in 1968 in a interview in Los Angeles with one radio reporter.
Maharaj, this moon that we see in the sky, is that Chandralok? Is Chandralok in a different dimension to the moon that we see in the sky?
Well, that's a good question. Let's see. The moon is called Chandraloka, yeah. But there is a supreme head for every planet, just like in the sun it's Vivishwan. In the moon it's Chandra. Different planets have their supreme rulers. The atmosphere is different. The time, how time is calculated is completely different. Everything is different. You want to go to the moon, and then perform austerities and qualify yourself to go. And then when you die, you can take birth on the moon. if you want. It's a higher planet. Prabhupada said it's one, and the Bhagavatam says it's 1,600,000 miles farther away from the earth than the sun. All of these scientists, they don't have any knowledge. For years, they used to think that the earth was the center of the solar system and all the planets went around the earth. And when Galileo actually showed that, he was punished by the ruling church at the time for making heresy. But Galileo was right. But he was, Socrates also. So, and the same thing today, you have these leaders, they don't know anything. They're engaged by these scientists. Prabhupada said the scientists are all, pretty much they're all demonic. They just create things for destruction. So we take the words of the Bhagavatam, we take the words of the Acharyas. We don't have to listen to these guys. There's so many theories, they're always changing their theories. One year they say, well, this is the way it is. But then next year they say, well, now we have more information and it's not like that, it's like this. And Prabhupada said, yeah, the next year they'll add some more and have a new theory. Every year they come up with a new theory. So Prabhupada said, science means observation and experiment. And therefore, based on that, you come up with a conclusion. But they have no conclusion. They say, well, yeah, just give us some more time and then we'll have the answer. And then just like if someone comes up to you, if you lend somebody some money and they say, yes, I'll pay you back, but not right now, but if you want, I'll give you a post-dated check. So they put the check 10 years from now. You may get your money or you may not. So the scientists are all bluffers, most of them. It's all bluffing. Because they have their experiments are simply based on their senses, and the senses are imperfect. And they create instruments from their imperfect senses, which are also imperfect. There's so many, I can name a number of theories that were once accepted, now no longer accepted. There's a whole list of these things. But we don't, we just take Bhagavatam, Prabhupada, the Acharyas, and there are also devotees now doing what is called Vedic astronomy, Vedic cosmology. The whole book by Vedic cosmology by one devotee from Govardhan Echo Village. He's done a whole book on Vedic cosmology. These are the things you should read, not these scientific reports that are just speculations. And if a scientist, there was one scientist who he went up in a spaceship. He was an astronaut, and he had a religious experience when he was up there. And he came back, and as soon as he mentioned that, they completely disbanded him from speaking, and they threw out everything he said. He got discredited. So they don't want anything to do with anything spiritual. If you believe in God, it's unscientific. So we don't have to worry about all this. We have the knowledge given by the Acharyas and the Vedas and explained by the devotees.
And we've got the Temple of Vedic Planetarium, I think, opening.
Yeah, that's going to be a kick in the face of all the scientific theories. That's why Maya is trying to delay this process. Temple should have been finished by now, but Maya's jumped in there and is making it difficult for us to finish it. As she knows, it's a big kick. It's Prabhupada's boot in the face of the scientists. They have no knowledge. Prabhupada talks about our scientist, Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. But he used to preach in scientific circles because he was a scientist and he was recognized. So he would associate with them. And then one time, one person was giving a lecture, and he was explaining how that you can actually create life. And he mentioned that if you mix certain ingredients together, you can actually create life. So Swarup Damodar Maharaj challenged him right in front of everybody and said, if I give you all the ingredients that you require for creating life, then you create life. And this so-called scientist said, that I cannot say. So he's making a theory or a statement, and if you give him all the ingredients for life, according to his calculations, still he can't guarantee anything. So they're all bluffers. They have no knowledge.
Thank you, Maharaj. Very helpful.
Yeah, if you listen to Prabhupada, you learn a lot. Everything you need to know is in Prabhupada's books, especially Bhagavatam.
Thanks, Alpesh Prabhu. Shridevi Mataji.
I just wanted to make a comment, Guru Maharaj, with your permission, that Srila Prabhupada said, the parents of my disciples will understand the value of this Krishna consciousness movement at the time of death, because the Lord will be there to take them. I don't know whether I'm using the exact words, but Prabhupada said like this: just because your children have become devotees, Krishna will take care of you, the parents, that means.
That's there in the Bhagavatam with the story of Dhruva Maharaj.
Yes, yes. So we don't have to worry so much what our relatives are doing, as long as we keep on the path of Krishna consciousness. Krishna will take care of our relatives also.
Yeah, but they should do something too. Not that I'm a relative, my son's a devotee, I don't have to do anything.
I'm sorry, I missed that. You said, but they should also?
It's just that based on circumstance, that works.
Oh.
But if a person thinks that because my child is a devotee, I'll get all the benefits, then that's cheating, and that won't happen. Like Arjuna is saying, you're on the chariot, Krishna. I don't have to fight.
Thank you. Thank you, Devi Mataji. Any other questions from anyone? Or we can. Yep, no questions anymore. Yep. Shridevi Mataji, do you have one more? Yes, please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
On this question of this space ship landing on the moon, it is unmanned. That just supposedly that spaceship has gone. But we know very well moon is much further than even the sun. What to speak of, going to a nearby planet? We cannot even cross that. There's the question of landing on the moon. So therefore, whatever they claim that ship has landed on, it is just another hoax.
There's one man who wrote a book.
The moon hoax.
Yeah, the moon hoax. He showed that the atmosphere that they're showing as the moon is the same as the Arizona desert. So the scientists are exposed. The same rocks are found in the Arizona desert.
Right. And Neil Armstrong, he died
He's the
about
one, he's the one that had the religious experience. Yeah, Neil Armstrong. And he was blackballed because of him.
and he went on to say that I've thrown all those moon rocks into the garbage because they've cheated me. I don't know where they sent me, but it wasn't to the moon. He just
Sri Devi, you don't have to, you don't have to kick a dead body anymore.
sorry, what is that?
Quit kicking a dead body.
Oh.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, there is no other questions. Are there any announcements to be made, Guru Maharaj?
Yes, one is I'm unable to do the class on Sunday. So if Srimati is still with us, she can arrange for someone to give the class on Sunday.
Thank you. Yeah, Srimati Mataji is online, so she'll be here. So we'll close
Okay,
class.
now, Guru Maharaj, sorry, I couldn't hear properly. Can you repeat it again? Please accept my humble obeisances and worship.
Please find someone for class on Sunday.
Okay, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah. Tomorrow I should be here.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I have another plan.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for your time and association. And thank you, devotees, for joining the call today. Hare Krishna.
I have one more request.
Yes.
Could someone send me the recorded lecture of Radhanath Swami on Monday that he gave at the manor during the 50th?
Sure, Maharaj. I'll look.
The Srimad Bhagavatam class, and also Shiva Ram Maharaj's class on Friday. Friday and on Monday. No, not Friday, but Saturday and Monday, I think it was.
Saturday and Monday.
I think Radhana Wednesday morning.
He didn't give one on Monday?
I think it was Wednesday morning. He gave a class on Wednesday morning. I'll send the link to Sri Devi Mataji. I can email it to you, Maharaj. I'll email it.
All right. In other words, those lectures that were part of the 50th anniversary. Shiva Ram Maharaj's lectures or Radhanath Swami's lectures for the 50th. So Vrindavan Nath is already on the ball. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My humble request is read Prabhupada's books, listen to Prabhupada, and you'll have less questions and more realizations. Everything is there. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare
Hare
Bol.
Bol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.